Alright, Pin, so I'll do some demonstrations. Later it'll be a little bit longer video. I have to suffer through it. Might have to scroll and rewind through it, but I'll go over exactly how to set these things up. But I just want to go over 3 different things that are kind of different in the program and why they're in there. Reverse band squats, reverse band deadlifts, and the deadlift iso hold. Okay. The reverse band squat, how it's written is it's taking pounds out of the bottom. You want to be able to squat 501 at your competition, right? So that's a goal, right? So what are we trying to do with this is trying to get your body used to the fatigue of having it on its back while giving it a little bit of help out of the bottom, because the most stressed you're going to be out of the squat is coming out of the hole with it. So we're going to get a little bit of help out of the hole. So you're not going to be lifting 501 out of the hole. You're coming down, and as you get about halfway, okay, as you get about halfway down, you're getting a little bit of help, and then out of the bottom, you're only really doing 420 coming out of it. But as you're coming up and out, your body's feeling 500 pounds on the back, and you're also getting practice of that top end strength to lock it out. Okay, so it's going to be less physically demanding on you, but yet your body is going to feel that weight on it. Okay, so you're going to be mentally prepared to take that weight. First week is 80 pounds out of the bottom. I believe second week is 60 pounds out of the bottom. And I believe there's another week there where there's 80 pounds, just so we don't overly fatigue you. And the reps scheme is kind of set up that way, okay? Reverse band deadlifts, same kind of philosophy. The most strenuous and biggest possibility for injury is bringing the weight off of the ground. So we're giving some help off the ground with using the bands. So that way, at your handling 520, you're having to lock 520 once it gets about knee, a little bit about shin. You're having to work to lock it out, but you're not getting that huge risk trying to pull it off the floor, and that's where most of your injuries and issues happen most of the time. With this, you can use your straps. We don't want to rip your hands up. Using the straps, this is okay. This is overload training. It's just getting your body used to handling and trying to deal with that type of weight. Your iso holds is just another overload technique where you're going to put 600 pounds on the bar. You're not going to be able to lift it. That's not the point. The point is to strain against that weight, create a good position, and learn to pull, okay? Because a lot of times, if you just pulled maybe for another second, the bar would go up. So it's just teaching you how to pull. It's teaching you how to get in great position coming out of the floor. And it's, again, not going to be as physically taxing. It's going to be, central nervous system is going to be taxed like you wouldn't believe, but it's not going to physically tax you as if you were going to pull an actual 90%, 95% deadlift. It's going to fatigue you less. So that is kind of what we're going to go for. So those are the 3 different things you're going to be seeing in the program in the peak. So I just want to kind of go over them, and then I'm going to go over here and kind of go over how to set these things up. Yeah. All right, so your reverse band squat, so how I would set this up or recommend it is first finding out with a pin where your depth is. So I would get an empty bar and set it to where somewhere right there, you know, and then you get underneath it, okay, and then you're gonna squat and see where your depth is. Where you hit depth, you know, okay, so right here, depth, technically, or whatever, for where you are depth-wise. So you got your pin set for where depth is for you, okay? And you can do this one or two ways. Either A, you can use and I saw that at the meet. Elias, quiet please. I have like a calf scale meter here, or you have a meter there that fit and it's hanging up on that wall by the mirror on the trainer side. You can measure band tension that way, okay? So these initially will take quite a bit to set up, but you throw your band over the top, and I want you to put it in the middle where it's in the middle, okay? All right, you're gonna loop it with one loop. And the reason why I want the middle is because it's not necessarily gonna be the middle. You're gonna know where you walk out, how far you walk out. You want it in line with the bar. You don't want it like way out here because it'll be pulling you forward, or the vice versa, it'll be pulling you backwards. You want it back where you're about where you're gonna walk out. You walk out to where the bar and the band are not either way, okay? And option one, you take, once you get it on there and you make it snug around the upright, and you take your tool and you loop it around your band, and you pull it all the way down to where your squat is, where you would hit it. So if you're pulling down, it's going to take a little bit of oomph. About right there is where it would be. So if you look at it, it takes about 72 pounds out of the bottom. So that's too much. You want 80 pounds, right about. A little bit more, not necessarily bad. I'd rather be on the more side than the less, but you want equal. So you would need 40 pounds on this side and 40 pounds on that side. So the Monster Band for my depth, which is a lot higher than yours, is way too much. So you pick another band, which I'm gonna go with Micro Monster band. Go through the middle like that. We'll do it opposite, so the loop is on the outside. See how the loop's on the outside coming underneath? You want it there, not the other way around. Okay? Pull it tight and snug where it's hugging. All right, so now we can test it again. And we pull down, pull that depth. So as you can see, that's a little over 40 pounds, maybe about 42 pounds or so. So that's relatively close for my height, okay? So we know that this is the band we're gonna use. That's gonna give us roughly 40 on this side and roughly 40 on that side, which is gonna take roughly 80 to 85 pounds out of the bottom. Set it up the other way. Grab the other band.
I think you need the other way.
Yep. You are right. Make sure they're snug together. Okay. There it is. Okay. We're right up next to the weight. Okay. So, when you get in and you get underneath it, stand up with it, get in line with where it's at, where it's even. So you're not being pulled forward, you're not being pulled backwards. And then that way, it's taking the load off of it. So it's 135 up here, but it's not, it's like 110 down there. Just be careful when you unrack. It's gonna have a tendency to try to pull you back a little bit. So get in there and get tight, unrack. The closer you can get it here, the better off. See, like this one's a little different. You guys has got different rack set up, but closer you can get it here, just do the minimum amount of steps, you're good. This is 80, okay? 80 pounds out of the bottom. Second week's 80 pounds out of the bottom. And then your third week, you have 60 pounds. You're removing 20 pounds of tension out of the bottom. So it'll be heavier out of the bottom, but it'll be more fatiguing. But the whole point is as you're working and you're doing this, you're getting the stimulus of the top end weight without the pressure and damage that you're gonna get from it out of the bottom. So that's the whole point of this exercise. For 501, because 501 is like your dream. Okay, but when you're first doing these, have someone that spots you. If 501's too much at the top, take 20 pounds off of it. Keep the same band tension, but take 20 pounds. The goal isn't necessarily the weight, it's so you can feel it, okay? Which 501, I think you can do no problem. So when you're doing the 60 pounds, it's the same process. You take a band, which will take only 60 pounds out, so you might have to do a combination of a couple bands. A mini band, thicker mini band.
Mama did the letter N.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Okay. And same thing, take your gauge, okay, and you pull it down. So it's your pin. Roughly right there, was that 20?
20-ish, yeah.
Okay. So that's 40. So you need another 10 pounds out of it. Now this is all dependent on your pin. Like if you have a pin and it's lower, you're gonna need a smaller band, because as it goes further down, it's going to give you more rebound. As close to on top as possible. Right. And thing going in here like this. And then you pull them down, you get both of them. That one's here. That's right about, it's a little less than 30, but this is kind of rickety. So this is about 30 pounds right here. So you know that. Right here, this is 30 pounds. So you get two bands. Take 30 pounds off this side, 30 pounds on that side, that's 60 pounds. Again, I caution you on when you walk this out for the first time, because inevitably you're going to have some backward pull from the bands. So if you just stand up, it's going to try to pull you back a little bit. So I would stand up, make sure you're in a good position so it doesn't pull you all the way back, and then step to where you're not feeling any pull backwards or forwards. Squat, And it's gonna take poundage out of it, at the bottom. All right, so reverse deadlift. Same idea, only we're coming from the bottom up. And I know they're at fit, you have them numbered, but you start by setting your pin at a certain height. So just pick a height, grab it here. Okay. You grab a monster. Because you can manipulate the poundage in which it takes off based on the height in which you change the pin. So you throw it over, and under, okay? And you want to have, if you come over here.
I'm coming.
You want to get it in where it's close. Nice and tight. And with the two V's are as close together as possible. Okay. So that's where you want to set it. Since I know the rack sits, the bar sits right above the cross beam here. Just very, very, very close to the top. I could do it a different way where I could take the bar itself and add weight to the bar. Situation, which you don't have to do this, but this is an option. I can set both my pins up at a height used this one here. Like that. Make sure they're like that when you start. Over. Through, keep it in the center, try to keep them as close together as possible here. Pull down so it bites really hard on that. Side here, like that, and like that. Just on the inside of the collar, just like so. So now the bar is 45 pounds, so I can add weight to it until I get to 80 pounds. Right off the rip, we know that it's set too high. Because realistically, if it was at where we needed to be, it would just have just enough on the bar where it would come down and just touch. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so we know that that's too much weight. So we know we gotta go down a peg or two. Probably 2 pegs.
Just lift it.
Well, hold on, you can lift it when I'm done. Hey, when I'm done. When I'm done. Okay, be patient. It is. Now, I know this seems really cumbersome and shitty, but the truth of the matter is, once you figure out, it's the same every time. Once you know, hey, check to see how much it is for 80 for the squat, both on the uprights. And once you know that, check to see what the 60 pound is. Once you know that, it's gonna be the same placement. You throw it the same area, you put it on there, you're good to go. Same with the deadlift is once you know where 80's at, you just set up exactly, remember the number of pins. Put it in there, put your bands on, and then you just set it up like that, have someone help you and put 45s on each side, and you're just good to go. You know where it's at every time. So it seems cumbersome now, but in reality, getting through and this is why I kind of wanted to meet in person, because this dumb shit we could have done, you would have known your numbers on the rack, and it wouldn't have been no fucking thing. We were both busy, so I went down 2. Went down 2. Okay. So, see. Not yet.
Hold on.
Alright, so we're still too high. Okay. Take back off.
That is not ready yet, huh? Hold on.
That's not ready.
Thank you for helping Dada.
Keep taking, no, put them on the ground. No, put it on the ground.
Thank you, man.
Down another 2.
Mama, can we get you to please?
I sure
Give away Jojo. Mama, can we get Jojo, please?
Alright, so as you can see, now that it's set up, the weight's is barely resting. It's barely resting on there. It's free floating. Right there is 80 pounds. So you're gonna make sure you look at the side, know where the number it is, or mark it in some way. Use the same rack, don't change rack. Mark it. Remember the number hole, and that's where it's gonna be. So
You gotta lift it.
So when we
Wait, Elias, hold on, please.
So when you add your weight to it, put your 520 on the bar. Be careful in loading it because it will smack you if you're not careful. Alright, I'm gonna try to pick it up. Pick it up.
No, because it's too heavy. You have to unlace it.
And load it.
So,
Okay.
when you get under it, when you hit it, you take it, there's 80 pounds out of the bottom, but as you come up, see how it comes off?
Yes.
It's full weighted at the top, but it's giving you that 80-pound help at the bottom.
Yeah, at the bottom, then you go straight down.
And that's why you're only doing singles, because you have to readjust your straps because they're gonna flop and catch different ways, which that is no big deal. But you're just doing singles. 520 is your green number. So if you try and it's just too much or whatnot, then you can always drop it down. And you can just do 500. The whole point is it's taxing at the top and it's favoring out the bottom. You can do the same thing with the same bands for 60 pounds. So I bet if I took it down one more, it would probably be good for 60. Just for simplicity, say fuck it. Use the same band, same thing, but for the 60 pounds, just take it one notch down. And then that'll be right where it needs to be. All right, so your ISO holds is another method of ISO overload. You're gonna put 600 pounds on the bar. We know you're probably not gonna be able to ever pull that 600 pounds. It's not the point. The point is to get in good position and try to break it from the floor with good position and hold for up to 3 to 4 seconds working on that. Why is this good? Is because trying to pull a heavy deadlift and getting it up here, you risk injury, things of that nature. This here, you're never gonna get off the floor. It's just pulling against something, trying to break it from the floor. Okay, give it all you got for about 4 seconds. It's less physically, not much physical risk than like pulling a heavy single. So you get there, your normal deadlift stance, okay? Get in there. And all you're trying to do with your sumo is you're just trying to get tall and try to break it from the floor. But what it's going to do is it's going to force you to sit, brace, engage your lats, and try to break from the floor. 3 to 4 seconds. And you do a series of those. But it's just kind of a nice finisher. You grab something heavy, you're pulling against it, but you're reinforcing it, almost like a pause deadlift, only you are paused because it's stapled to the ground because it's more than you can actually lift. So it's just a safer alternative than to pull in a heavy single deadlift.